Hello and welcome to Watching Paint Dry. I'm your host Jane Palin, and this week I'm joined by the wonderful Sheree Millington, who you may have recently seen on your screens on BBC's Interiors Design Masters. I originally connected with Sheree on Instagram as she moved to Margate, where she bought her first home as a solo buyer. You'd be forgiven for thinking that Sheree works in interiors, her home is a dream, but actually she started her professional career as a journalist at Vice magazine and is now a copywriter for a well-known retailer. As you'll discover in the podcast, she's taken up a few hobbies throughout. One of the things that I admire about Sheree is her laid-back attitude to decorating. She's not afraid to roll her sleeves up, but she also doesn't take it too seriously. We spoke about how she often changes things based on her mood, but it's normally by shopping her own home or by simply upcycling something. It doesn't feel wasteful, unlike the tote bag problem that we also have a little laugh about. If you didn't know it, I'm quite passionate about tote bags. I'm guessing that you're on the edge of your seat now, so pop the kettle on and let's get chatting. I am here with TV royalty, Sheree from Interior Design Masters. If you didn't catch her in week one, then you didn't catch her at all. Short but sweet, but it was beautiful. Loved every second of it, and it is their loss. But we've known each other for a while. I think I first started following you maybe when did you move? When did you move to Margate?
I lived in Margate. It was 2 years in February. And what I did when I moved to Margate is I followed everyone in Margate and surrounding areas like a stalker.
In the hope that some of us would follow you back and be friends.
That's like being my friend.
And I remember seeing your house and being like, oh my god, this house is amazing. I felt like I knew you through your house, even though...
Good, that's what I want, that's what home should be.
Yeah, it just felt like it oozed personality, and I just was like, it just seemed so warm and welcoming, but also a little bit bougie, and also bringing a little bit of felt like culture and just your journey and history into it. And I love that. I look for that in homes, so I was immediately drawn to you, and then obviously to see where you've gone with that over the 2 years. I feel like I get tired just watching you. You seem like a one-woman machine when it comes to...
Yeah, I'm tired. Well, I'm always tired. You can't stop though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. Summer, I'll take a break.
How did you come to live in Margate? What was it about the area?
Well, I'm from Leeds originally, if you can't tell from the accent. And I'd lived in London for about 10 or 11 years. And I've got a theory that if you're not from London, you've got a decade in you.
Yeah.
And after that, it's kind of make or break time. Most people are like, I actually can't do this. Because I don't have roots in London, although I love it, it's so vibrant. It's a struggle. It's such a struggle to live there. And I visited Margate, I think in 2017, and within 10 minutes, I was like, I'm gonna live here. I love it. I love being by the sea, I love the vibe. It's got all the good parts of London. It's got all the culture, great restaurants, great art scene, but it's just a different pace of life. It's nicer. I'm northern, so I like to stop on the street and chat to people. Whereas in London, obviously, people are like, what are you talking about, love? I'm like, oh my god, just want to say hello. People think that you're crazy. So I think Margate's a good kind of place to move after London. There's a lot of people that are from London.
We're all here, the DFLs.
The DFLs.
I was the exact same, 10 years in London. And then I was just one day I've actually had enough, and had been to Margate a lot and was like, let's just move to Margate. It just also made sense financially.
Yeah, I mean the finances are a big thing as well. Let's not pretend, because I'm single as well, so I knew that I wanted to buy. And I did do a little bit of groundwork in London. I thought, let me see what I can get. And what I could get was
a box.
Yeah, a room above a butcher shop. Literally looked like it was all tiled. But yeah, I thought, why am I going to spend my life savings to live in a worse situation than I've ever lived before? And
just to say you own.
Yeah, and my friends that don't live in London, they look at people in London and they're like, you're mad, you're crazy. Why do you work so hard? Do you literally live in a hellhole? And then just the busyness. I lived in Camden Town as well, so I mean it was busy 24/7, sirens. And you're just like tired by the end of the day. Whereas in Margate, I feel refreshed because I can go down to the beach.
When you hear a siren, you're like, what's going on? Like, you know,
I know.
something's happening. What is it? Like, let me check. Like X or whatever it is now, or the like local community group to find out what's going on. Like everyone. The only negative is everyone knows everyone's.
If you're a nosy person like me, it's ideal. Because I never knew my neighbours in London. They were weird neighbours, I have to say. But now I've got a lovely woman who lives next door who's an interior designer. Just really nice people. I've lucked out, and everyone that I meet is just so lovely and friendly, and they've got time to talk.
Yeah.
Which I love.
You love to talk.
Oh,
The kind of like concept of watching paint dry is more about like what makes your home you and like who you are as a person. So I know that your background isn't in interiors, but you're obviously like very talented at doing interiors, and obviously you made it onto interior design masters as well. But what is it about like decorating a space or making your home your own that
I've always been quite concerned with my home and how it makes me feel. Like I'm a really social person, but I think at heart I'm a home bird. Like I do like to be inside, and my environment affects me so much. Like I don't know if you've ever rented those places where they're like you can't even stick a poster on the wall. I feel like I'm in a prison cell. I've got some friends that are like true minimalists, so I'll go to their house and I'm like, aren't you depressed? Do you not feel so sad? But yeah, I've always, even if I've lived in places for 6 months or something and then the landlord's like booted me out, I've always like chanced my luck and painted a few walls and like bought loads of artworks. I just like things to look at. I just sit in my living room sometimes and just look around.
I love that.
The little knickknacks and like souvenirs, and yeah, I find it really weird when people aren't like really house proud, and yeah, I just think your environment affects your mood so much.
100%. I remember when I was renting in London and I was working in like design PR, so I was seeing all of these like beautiful homes and looking at my wood chip wallpaper that was painted magnolia and my brown carpets and my brown sofas, and I was just like, I need to make a change here. Like it was actually making me feel really like sad, just being at home. And your home, like obviously it's meant to be a safe space. You've got to really clear your head. That's all that matters, really. But there are so many things that you can do as like on a budget and make a space feel a little bit better. And actually I remember in that space, we just painted it white because we were like, the landlord won't notice. And just that small adjustment from like magnolia to white really helped
and
me.
I think you always lose your deposit anyway. Well, back when I was renting, I never got a deposit back, so I just thought, do you know what, let me do what I want.
I've always got all of mine back.
What? How?
I don't know.
How?
But yeah, I think sometimes it's worth it to just lose that deposit, just for your
and there's
mental health.
And when you rent, and I rented for so long, it doesn't make it any less of a home. Like, you still got to live there, even if it's for 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. You shouldn't just live in misery or wait until you've got your forever home, because you might never have it. I mean, this home now might not be my forever home. And I've spoken to quite a few people who kind of will question, why have you even bothered, like, decorating your bathroom or something, because I desperately need a new bathroom. I don't have the money, I will not have the money for probably another couple of years, but I would rather, zhuzh things up for the time being for now and enjoy them. Thank you. I mean, the shower makes me feel physically sick. It's one of those like OAP ones, with the seat and loads of jets, and I scrub it, and it's never ever clean. I've got a giant bidet. I just hate bidets. I don't call them.
You've got a bidet?
Yeah.
I've never known anyone to have a bidet in the UK. I
feel like they used to be quite bougie, but I don't understand the mechanics of it. I don't need you to explain it to me. But but I'm like, they don't seem hygienic to me. And mine's about a metre away from my toilet, so I'm like, I just don't get it. I've put a table over it for the time being.
Or something.
Yeah, when my niece came over, she used it to kind of splash around. I mean, thank God I didn't actually use it.
I mean, perfect for like a dog, maybe?
I know I live in Margate, it's a cardinal sin not to have a dog, but no, I've decided no pets now. They're too much trouble. They're too much trouble. I want to be free.
Single life.
Yeah.
I actually really wanted to ask you about that like home buying journey as a single person. Like it's not an easy one, right?
It was a nightmare. It was probably one of the hardest things I've done.
To people, but
I mean, it's doable because I did it, but it was really, really difficult. But I was just so determined, and it's because it was during the pandemic, and I had to spend so much time at home, and we obviously didn't know if that was going to be forever. I mean, it sounds weird to say it now, and I've been saving little bits, but I was able to kind of ramp up then. But at one point, I had 3 jobs. Like I really just kind of went away. I was like, I need to get a deposit together, worked out my budget, which wasn't very much, and set to work trying to get a mortgage.
Did you speak to an advisor before?
Yeah, I did.
And so you knew what to do and what you needed?
Yeah, but it's all so foreign. I do feel like a lot of the time when you speak to people, they assume you've got some base level of knowledge.
Yeah.
I had 0 level of knowledge. I'm not very financially savvy at all. I'm terrible. I never saved for anything in my entire life before, so it was all just such a learning curve. And also, like, viewing houses in the pandemic was very, very difficult. I remember coming to Margate to view some houses, but everything was closed, and in between us, I really need the toilet, but there's nowhere to go, so I had to wing on the beach, like in the bitter, lashing rain, and I was just like, this is depressing.
So classy of you.
I'm a Yorkshire girl.
Oh, I hadn't actually even thought about that as a thing.
Yeah, and Margate was hot, as the estate agents kept saying. So I would view houses, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to put an offer in, and the estate agent would say, we've had 8 offers, so what's your final and best offer? But because I was up against quite often couples, I lost out on so many houses, and then I finally found a house, not the house that I live in now, and put an offer and got accepted, and it all fell through the week of completion, and this was like 6 months in. I was very, very sad. I was gutted, so I lost money. I'd lost 6 months, and then by that point the house prices had risen so much in 6 months that I had to then scrabble together more money. So it was very difficult. It took a year all in all, but everything happened for a reason. I'm so glad that I ended up in the house that I'm in now, because I just love it. It's the perfect location. But because of that situation with losing a house, I spread my net a bit further, and I looked in a different area, and so I think that was...
You made it.
For a reason.
Yeah.
I made it. It was difficult, but I'm here.
It's possible, but I guess, you just have to kind of know what you need to do and be really driven to get.
Yeah, and I think narrowing down exactly what you want. Luckily, I was really kind of focused on what I wanted. I had a list of must have, nice to have, and absolute no. I was glad that I had a very fixed view in my mind of what I wanted.
And that we just had all of the houses available in Margate.
I mean, luckily a Victorian terrace is very easy to come by in Margate.
It is. And then just also, once you're into the house, you're then decorating on your own, which I imagine for you is just a dream to not have anyone else's opinion. Coming into it, it literally is your space and your space only. But what was your inspiration behind the house? Did you have a vision, or?
I'm quite organic, I would say. I think, I didn't have any money left over when I moved into the house, so that kind of put the kibosh on most things. But I collected loads and loads of bits over the years, bits of furniture. My poor mum, she stored all the stuff in her cellar for years, and the attic as well actually. So I already had these things, so I think I kind of worked with what I had, certain bits of art, things I'd stolen from my mum and grandma, and lots of things from travel as well, because I like to just be reminded when it's a great day of travel. So I kind of worked with that. I didn't have too much of a vision, because I think you've got to live in the space first, and then you know what it
I
needs.
agree. I'm very much that person that needs to like find out how I use it. But I also know people that can go in spaces and just know exactly what to do. That doesn't come naturally to me.
Nor me, which was interior design masters. It's like
That's your worst nightmare.
the antithesis of how I wouldn't even say that I design necessarily. All my rooms in my house have changed so much over the course of the 2 years, because like, you know, you see things that you like, you see things that you don't like. I'm just constantly like tinkering with things.
For you, I feel like it's like you've recently just painted your dining room like a yellow, like a pale yellow,
Yes.
right? Like a buttery yellow. And I feel like you kind of did that on a whim, but it still works really well for you and feels like I think you kind of decorate a bit on like your mood. Would I be correct?
I do. I really do. Sometimes I just feel like a bit of a pick-me-up. Mm-hmm. So I'll change things around. Sometimes it's small things, like I'll rearrange a bookcase or I'll change my artwork around. But yeah, sometimes I'll paint a room. It doesn't really take that long. I feel like people are a bit too precious about interiors. But
especially with paint,
like it's quite inexpensive. And if you don't have a huge house, it doesn't really take that long either. And on a rainy day, I'm like, well, I can't think of anything better to do.
Paint your dining room yellow.
Yeah, and then if you don't like it, you can just paint over it. I think I'm quite an impulsive person, which is good because I get stuff done. I make so many mistakes. Like sometimes I just think, oh God, but nothing's permanent. I even thought that about moving to Margate. People were like, oh, aren't you scared? Like, this is a big move. What if you don't like it? I was like, well, we'll just move again then if I don't like it.
Yeah, I think we often get quite scared, like societally, or you get told these things, or like, you know, when it comes to decorating a house, it's like, but what about the next buyer? And it's like, well, the next buyer doesn't matter right now.
The next buyer doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
Also, I have never viewed a house and looked at the colour of the walls or the way they've decorated it and thought anything of it, because you make it your own.
How you're gonna.
Yeah, you've got to look past that. Also, in my budget as well, I've never viewed a home, but I'm like, this is perfection. It usually needs quite a lot of work. If you've got the luxury to, like Selling Sunset, where they'll literally like look at a coffee table and like a light fixture, that will like make or break the sale. But that's not reality for most people. You have to look past the current owner's belongings and decoration.
It always blows my mind on Selling Sunset actually that they buy it with the furniture and just literally come with their toothbrush, and I'm like, how do you live like that? Like, don't you want to see? I'm exactly the same as you. Like, pick things up on travels. Like, I like to see memories. Like,
yeah, are you quite sentimental?
No, I think people would describe me as an ice queen actually. But like, my home feels very sentimental to me. Like, it's really important to me that it like makes me feel kind of at ease. So I think like when I see things that have made me happy, it makes me feel happy. Maybe I am sentimental.
Yeah, maybe you are a bit sentimental. I love your home though, because I think, you know, people could easily identify that's your home if they didn't know. They could put you in there, they could see you in there. I feel like a home's like the shell on your back, like a snail. It should be an extension of you. Like, I don't have room in my head for all these memories and like all my hobbies and things, so my house is like an extension of my brain.
Yeah, I actually really like that. I've never heard that, like the shell, your little snail.
I just came up with that.
Well, I loved it. We briefly touched on interior design masters and how it was a nightmare for how you decorate, because it's just you really have no time at all, do you?
No.
To prepare and to come up with a scheme, and then actually do the scheme as well. How was it?
People need to give more credit to people that like go all the way through, because it's, if you go through to the final, it's 16 weeks of your life, and it's 16 very intense weeks. I'm just a very yes person, so I I went on it because I was like, I can't say no, I love this programme. I knew that I would never
Did they
win.
approach you, or did
Yeah, this is why I like to have an Instagram of my home, because you never know what can happen when you put yourself out there. So one of the producers DM'd me. I thought it was some kind of phishing scam at first. And then I got back to them, and I just went along with it, never in a million years thinking that I'll be on the programme, because I was quite open with them, like, I've got no experience, I'm not really an interior design master, I'm not an interior designer. But yeah, I ended up on the show, which was crazy, but I thought I can't turn down this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it was your shiny personality. Obviously, like, I feel like at the core of it there is natural talent there, so it was interesting to see you kind of like translate that into being an interior designer for a week, and sort of suddenly realizing, I mean, I also feel like there was definitely a meme of like your plans.
I did have a plan, by the way, obviously, because I had to buy everything in advance. But yeah, I'm just not a planner. I'm kind of I'll go in and do things. Also, there really wasn't that much time to plan, so I was working full time at the time, and I think I was the last person cast. So from me knowing that I was going to be on the show to being on the show, I think it was about 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I was like working to find someone to fill my place at work. So it was just a whirlwind. I really think that they should let everyone stay the first week, because there's so much to contend with.
Yeah, you don't really get to see
like
people's actual styles or personalities. And I think that is like, I feel like the show, obviously a lot of people watch it now, and it's like gained huge popularity. And it's because it represents so many different design styles. And obviously there are people on there that say, you know, you get the trolls of being like, but it's just so nice to see lots of different styles represented, and it's really like you get to know the people, and I love that. And I loved getting to know everyone. Like, how did you find meeting all of those people?
I was intimidated at first. I don't think, I'm the kind of person where I don't think things through until I'm in the moment. So I remember the first time I met everyone and they were like serious. Ben was talking about the next brief, and the next week I was like, oh my gosh, I barely thought about this week. So I knew that everyone was like really serious, and they're all so talented. Like, I do think that this is probably the best season yet in terms of the talent of everyone, and everyone's so different as well. But it's just inspiring to be around people that are really passionate and great at what they do.
Yeah, and obviously interiors are also subjective, so it's kind of a bit of a weird thing, because you're competing, like, who's the purveyor of taste? Like, obviously in this instance it's Michelle, but it's just nice to see like lots of different ideas and styles and designs, and it's almost who can handle the pressure of doing it.
Oh, for sure, and there is a lot of pressure. After the first day I was like, I'm broken. It was 14-hour days, like, it is so difficult. And yeah, it's funny, like, it's obviously subjective. It's completely subjective, so it is hard to judge people, I guess. But for me, I just think having a point of view and having a style is good enough for me, even if it's not to my taste. Like, I love so many past contestants as well. Like Interior Coach Siobhan, I absolutely adore her. I would rather die than live in her house. It would give me a headache, but it's amazing because it's so her.
It's incredible. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, and I've spoken about this before, just I have an appreciation for people that are just really true to themselves, and even if it's a house that I wouldn't want to live in, like the fact that it's their house that they live in, like, it's just amazing. Banjo as well.
Oh, I know.
The stories, just everything felt so authentic and true. I love
Banjo. I feel like, especially maybe if you're a woman, like growing up, like, did you have dolls' houses and stuff? And I had books as well about like the Brambley Hedge, if you remember them, when you open them up and it was like a dissection of a little mouse's house. Like, I was always a bit obsessed with like things and interiors, and like I remember going around to my grandparents' house, and like I was just so obsessed with the house and like all the books and like opening drawers. And home is so important because you have to spend at least a bit of time there. Even if you're a really out there person, you have to be in your home, so why not make it a home? I feel like a lot of my memories are of, you know, my childhood home or my grandparents' home or friends' houses. And I also, you love going to hotels as well. I love going to hotels. If I had the money, maybe I'd live in a hotel.
I love going to hotels that have character.
Yes.
Though.
You don't go to the Premier Inn.
But, I mean, Premier Inns have really comfy beds. Like, I'm quite like, I look at little details in. Like, I'm the kind of person that will turn over a mattress and find out where it's from in a hotel. Or look like, recently stayed at Standard and looked at the bin. Like, I'm like, where's this bin from? It's a really cool bin.
The Standard is beautiful.
I look for things that are different in hotels because I think they often have access to a lot more.
Yeah, and they can take ideas and kind of do them on a smaller scale in your own home.
Yeah.
And also, it's nice to just experience different interior styles as well. I like going to hotels, you know, like really, really slick and modern, which is not my style, but it's so good for like a night or two. And I love going around to my friends' houses that have got different styles. It's kind of food for the soul. And when I go out to eat as well, I never really comment on the food as much as I comment on the interiors. I'm always like looking around like, oh my God, I love this, I love the walls, I love the banquette.
I do that in the sense of, I'm like, they haven't put a hook for my bag underneath.
People don't do that anymore.
I'm so practical when it comes to those things. I'm just like, have they made this like a good experience for me to eat?
And that's another thing about interiors. It's not, I think the perception of it is that it's quite fluffy, but it has to be functional. Before anything else, it really has to be a functional space, which is why I take so long with my own interiors, because you don't know what you need until you need it and you don't have it. Even like, I had to get a blind recently for like my dining room window, because actually at this time of year the sun is very annoying. And yeah, things like that, hooks. I've got a very good tote bag collection as well, so I recently had to find somewhere to house that.
I stuff my furniture with tote bags because I've got so many. So I've got, you know, like one of those Moroccan like poofs.
Oh,
kind of
that's a clever idea.
Stuffed with tote bags.
What is it with millennial women and tote bags?
Well,
is this like the secret addiction of all millennial women?
I mean, it's just the industry that I'm in. You get given a tote bag with like every single.
Do you judge a press day on the quality of the tote bag?
I judge a press day on the fact of whether they give me a tote bag, because I'm like, I don't need any more tote bags. Like, please just put it in a cardboard.
And do you have a favourite tote bag? I've got about 400 tote bags, but there are 2 that I just use or repeat.
I do have favourites. You didn't know that this was going to go into tote bag chats.
It always comes back to tote bags.
Apparently it's very important. Yeah, like, you know, longer handles, bigger.
One with a bit of a base as well is quite useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just stop talking about totes. I'm going to start a tote bag podcast.
Very niche. Anyway, what's next? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna do anything interiors related? I want you to become a TV presenter.
So many people have said that. No one has said that I should be an interior designer. Literally no one. It's quite offensive, but loads of people have said you should be on TV. But I think a lot of people feel this. I have a kind of malaise. I think at this age, I kind of worked my way through my 20s and early 30s and just worked. And now I'm like, I just kind of want to have fun and live, but I never say no to anything. I never say no to anything. So when opportunities come.
So when I asked you to come on here,
yeah, I was like, yeah, of course.
You were like, I can't actually say no. I feel exactly the same. You get to a point in your life where you kind of want to be a bit more settled. As much as I think that you should start new things at any point in your life, you can have any career at any time. It's definitely like I feel like I've tired myself out.
Yeah, and I think interior design masters actually taught me there's sometimes things that you love, you should keep as kind of things that you love. Like, you don't have to monetize everything. Not everything has to be a side hustle.
Hobbies can be hobbies.
Yeah, hobbies can be hobbies. Like, I think I'm of like the girl boss generation where for so many years I was like, okay, great, I'm good at this. Let's do this. Like, I became a PT very randomly for a few years because I really got into working out, and I was like, well, obviously I should do this professionally and become a PT. But then when I did it, I was like, now I don't like it. I liked it for myself to go and like, you know, have a bit of time, mental headspace. But then when you turn it into something more, it just sucks the joy out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And with interiors, I think I love doing my own house. I do. I love it, and I love going at my own speed. If I was becoming a professional interior designer, yeah, I think it would have that work stress attached to it, and I wouldn't love it as much as I do.
I hate that quote, the one that's like, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, or whatever it is. I hate it, because I just always think like, no, it's still work.
Yeah.
Like, you still have bad days. Like, let's not make everyone feel worse about their career or their job, because I still feel like I work, even though I do something that I really enjoy.
And I think there's a lot, especially in the creative industries, there's a glamour to it, and people want to work in it. But also the creative industries are notoriously like elitist, difficult to get into. Sometimes they're not as well paid, and sometimes you can just have like a day job and let your job be your job, and then fulfill yourself in other ways outside of that. Like, you don't have to struggle to make your passion your career, and you know, maybe it doesn't work out. You can have hobbies. I'm a hobbyist. I'm here for hobbies.
So we're keeping interior design as a hobby. I feel like, yeah, all of the other things you just mentioned, that's another podcast. So I am gonna kick off some quick fire questions for you that, yeah, we'll see what you come up with.
Okay.
We've had I thought that everyone was gonna go for the same things, but no, we've had very varied answers. Let's go. Ready to go home or renovation project?
Renovation project. I wish that I could have had more of a renovation project, but they're so expensive. Like, I would love like a crumbling house that I could build from the ground up, but I mean, who's got hundreds of thousands of pounds lying around?
One day, maybe.
One day.
When you're a successful TV presenter. Minimalist or maximalist?
I'm in the middle.
Me too, in between the list. DIY or hire trades?
In my heart of hearts, I would love to hire trades for everything, but I simply, due to budget, normally have to do DIY. But when you hire someone, you realise, you're like, oh, this is what I'm paying for. The skill, you can never do it like a professional. Like, they're amazing.
I beg to differ. Open plan or private zones?
I think if I lived in a hotter country, if I was in like LA or something, gorgeous open plan. But I actually think that having separate rooms is more functional.
Wallpaper or paint?
Paint, because anyone can do it. Although I want my whole house wallpapered, but it's expensive.
Gotta get
Can you do it for me? I know you can wallpaper.
I can wallpaper for you. You've got enough budget for the pool and blanche of drinks. Dining table or TV meal?
Dining table. I never, ever, ever eat in front of the TV.
Ever?
Maybe once or twice, but it's a rare occasion. Also, I haven't switched my TV on in months. I realised the other day.
Go you.
Reader.
Big light or little lights?
Little lights, of course. The big light is very harsh. When you're a woman of a certain age, you need very soft lighting.
Carpet, yay or nay?
Yeah, I love carpet. I'm saving up to get my bedroom carpeted. I want a pink carpet.
Oh, I love a pink carpet. Yes. New or vintage furniture?
Vintage all the way. It's always better quality. Mm-hmm. It's usually cheaper. And then also, you've got something that no one else has.
Painted ceiling, yes or no?
Yeah, 100% yes.
What colour?
Any colour. Any colour. I like a colour drench, so everything's the same colour. But yeah, go wild. Paint any colour. I do have some white ceilings, I think there is always room for a white ceiling, but yeah, with ceilings, woodwork, there are other options other than white or cream.
Paint it all. Come here, buy a paint.
Yeah.
From me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
For watching paint dry with me, and see you soon.
See you soon.